Building a Tenor Guitar, Part 18 at randallprice.com. I have one last piece that I have to attach to the underside of the guitar top, and that's the bridge reinforcing plate. The guitar bridge, of course, is mounted right here on top of the guitar. The guitar strings come across the saddle and down through 4 holes in the bridge, and then the strings are held in those holes by guitar pins. On the back side, these strings have a metal ball end on them, and they bear against the back side of this guitar top, and they're under a lot of tension. If the guitar back was left just as is, the tension of those strings against the underside of the top would cause the ball end of those strings just to pull right through the top, because the spruce is very soft. So to counteract that, I need to put a reinforcing plate on here made out of hardwood, so that gives something for those ball ends on the strings to bear against. And what I'll use for that is some maple. This is maple left over from laminating the guitar neck. Looking back here on the blueprint, I'll just cut out a piece of maple about 3/32 of an inch thick to this shape, so that will fit right in here. I'll glue that in place, and then eventually the guitar bridge will be mounted on the top directly above this reinforcing plate, and that will just give those ball ends of those strings something to bear against and keep them from pulling through the top. Using my protractor, I measure this angle directly off my blueprint, and it's 43 degrees. So I'll go ahead and mark this out on one side of the reinforcing plate. I cut the reinforcing plate slightly wider than it needed to be so I could trim it to fit with the block plane. Okay, just trim these ends up with the block plane and have a fitting there where I want it, so I'll glue this into place now. I just quickly cut me a hardboard caul on the bandsaw to fit over the top of the reinforcing bridge so as to not to mark it up too bad. And I'll leave that there to dry. The back of the guitar is made of two mirror image pieces of thin walnut, and this walnut is edge glued right down the middle. It's very thin, so this glue joint is a pretty thin joint, and because of that the blueprint calls for a reinforcing strip to be glued over this joint down the center of the back. Now the grain runs from the neck end to the tail end of the guitar, so this reinforcing strip has to have the grain running across or in a 90-degree angle to the grain on the back. And what is used to do that is some of the leftover spruce from the guitar top. So when I made the top, the grain orientation was this way. This is a cut off from the top, and I'll just rotate that 90 degrees and cut some strips from this, and the grain will be running at a 90-degree angle to the back. are right at 1/16 of an inch thick. These strips, if I get up here close, you can see the grains running crossways, and they're 5/8 of an inch wide and 1/16 of an inch thick. I'll cut these to length just to fit in between each one of the braces, and then prepare to glue them up. There's all the strips cut. Now, when I glue them up, I want to get all the strips aligned with each other. So I'm just going to take a little piece of wood, the length of the guitar, notch out for each one of these braces so I can set it on here and use it to align the strips with each other. Okay, I'm all set up to do my glue up. This is the alignment strip that I made. I just quickly cut some notches in this to get over the braces. I measured over 5/16 of an inch from the center line so that my 5/8 inch strip will be in line with the center. And I'll just use this to butt my reinforcing strips against to glue them. Once they're clamped in place, I can take this alignment strip out. I've also made some little cawls so they'll distribute the pressure of the clamps and not make any marks on top of the reinforcing strip. So I'm ready to do my glue up. Thought I may need three go bars per strip, but it looks like probably 2 will give me enough pressure to glue those up. For woodworking plans, tips, and techniques, visit randallprice.com. On building a tenor guitar part 19, I'll be fitting the guitar top to the guitar body.